Thank you for tuning in to 5-Star Tips, where advisors can hear time-tested methods and proven strategies that top practices are using to achieve exceptional and sustainable success. We invite you to listen, take notes, and apply these methods to your practice today to generate better results tomorrow. Your host, Ken Unger, is the founder of the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors. Ken is the industry's leading coach and trainer for mid to high-level financial advisors with almost 40 years of industry experience. Ken has trained more high-level success stories than any other coach. Ken is a thought leader for advisors who are looking to grow and run the industry's top client-centric practices. If you are ready to take your practice to the next level, stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to 5-Star Tips, a podcast for successful financial advisors, sponsored by the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors, where we partner with the industry's best advisors. My name is Ken Unger, and I'm the founder and chief executive officer of the Academy. Today, I am so fortunate, and so are you, because we have an outstanding and sensational member of our exclusive coaching program, who, when you take a look at our exclusive coaching program, we talk about proven systems, customized advice, and results. Well, when you look at who epitomizes that, I'm so excited about today's call because I have Alissa Conklin with me. Alissa is with Appleman Financial in a remote area of Pennsylvania. I don't want to tell too much about her story because I'd rather she tell it. But she's somebody who really, when you take a look at advisors who are helping clients and doing well, I couldn't think of a better example than Alissa Conklin. Alissa, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Ken. Thank you for that very warm welcome.
Excellent. Well, as you know, we've had about a 15-year, I looked it up, we have about a 15-year business relationship, a little bit over 15 years. And boy,
Yes.
Time has flown, has it not?
It has flown. We are a family-run practice. My father and I together. I started working for him in 1999, and he started doing boot camps over the years up until 2010, when we decided to join the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors.
So that's awesome. So for the last 10 years now, you've been in our coaching program. Alissa, could you just describe your practice? Tell us what maybe even if we could do both things. I know you've been involved in it the whole way along. Can you
Yes.
dial back to what did your business look like and what does it look like now?
Yes. When I first started with my father back in 1999, I just was his receptionist. I'd answered phones, worked on his first client management system, data system, organized files, and then got my licenses over the years and started meeting with some of his smaller accounts. And then we had implemented some of the boot camp ideas all along, the annual client dinner, a quarterly mailing to clients, seminars. And so he would go away to a boot camp. He'd come back with some really good ideas and we'd work on them together and launch those. And then in 2009, I had multiples and took about 6 months to a year off. And when I came back, I knew that I wanted to step back into my career. I wanted what I could to provide for my new, much larger family. And so we both agreed that it was time to get involved with the Academy and the 3 meetings a year and the extra support that you provide.
Well, Alissa, and what an impact you made. Now, you talked about multiples, and we'll get back to that because for those of you who don't know Alissa, Alissa had quintuplets. That's, some people claim they have a busy life, Alissa. You go home, I know you have 6 children, of which 5 of them are exact same age. So
Yes.
you want to talk about organization, you want to talk about systems. We're talking Alissa Conklin, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But if you could, Alissa, tell me what your business looked like size-wise. I mean,
Okay.
it was you and Dad, and you're being very modest. You've got lots of degrees. I know you're a registered tax preparer. You're a smart lady. You went to work with your dad. What did your business look like size-wise? I mean,
Right.
and what does it look like today?
Well, when we started with the academy, so we had done the boot camps, and when we started with the academy, we had about 40 million of AUM, and we had one part-time assistant. With my little children, I was part-time, and so she was in the office answering phones and things like that. So we started with 40 million AUM. We added a marketing assistant to help us with the new program in the fall of 2010. And so we just took everything you told us to do and we implemented it over the years. And now we have 3 part-time staff. We have 150 million of AUM and about 650 households.
So we're talking 150 million, Alissa, but I know you're in an area that's not as lucrative as, let's say, Beverly Hills or,
No.
perhaps not one of the 10 wealthiest or most prosperous areas of the country. Could you describe a little bit? You're in a remote area of Pennsylvania is there anyone close to you at $150 million?
Our biggest competitions are local banks and a few independent advisors. We don't have any wirehouses in the area. We actually got a Starbucks less than a mile away about a month ago.
Because I know you and I joke, if you were ever in a lucrative area of California, for example, or, Long Island, I could see you folks running a billion-dollar practice. I mean, $150 million where you are is an incredible achievement. Let me ask you, so you have $150 million, you got 4 people on the team, very efficient team. Tell me a little bit about, one of the things I hear a lot of people struggling with is, a father-son or a father-daughter or a mother-son, mother-daughter relationship. How do you keep that relationship healthy? I mean, do you and Dad get along all the time? Is it just like you're the perfect child? Or
well, let's go with the perfect child. I like that answer. We do work well together. We always have worked very well together. Communication is very important in any team, but I think especially a family, because you have the work relationship and then you have the father-daughter relationship, and those 2 relationships bring different emotions into the picture. And so, we haven't been without our serious discussions over the years, but usually it doesn't take us long to understand what each one of us needs and how we can go forward. So I've always worked in this business with him as his assistant, and I have always kept that in mind, even as I've grown my side of the business. I always wanted to make sure I took care of my father, that I was making his life easier, that it was clear that I was thankful for the opportunity that I was given to grow up in this business and to help him grow his business as well. And I wanted him to be proud of me. So I think when you look at a family dynamic and when you throw in that kids want to make their parents proud, I think it puts a whole nother goal, a goal in that person to do well. And so I think working for a family can be one of those wonderful blessings in the world, but I know can also be one of the hardest. And so we just keep communication open. We had to work through how we split new appointments. We had to complete a succession agreement together and work through all of that and who handles the personnel and who does the hiring and the firing and all those things over the years. And we've just had good communication and we love each other. So we want to do what's best for each other and for the business and our staff. So
I will tell you, listen, I've watched you and your dad for 2 decades now, and I've had the luxury of having a front row seat to watch your practice close up for the last decade. And I will tell you, for those of you listening, there are 5 things, and Alissa, correct me if I'm wrong, that really make your father-daughter relationship so strong and so healthy. First, as you said, is love. He loves you, he adores you as a daughter, and you love him as a dad, which I see in most relationships. The second, which you touched upon, communication. I think you're both good at explaining to each other exactly what you're looking for and what you need. The third thing I've seen from you two is boundaries. He knows your boundary and you know his. So while you might cross them at times, I think you folks at least have outlined them. Fourth is respect for each other's roles. I know he's so praiseworthy of your role and you of his. And the fifth I got to give to you, which is attitude. Sometimes I'll see like someone coming into the business who doesn't, all the parents really looking for is that appreciation factor, which you always have of your dad. I mean, you folks do great financially. You do well. You take great care of clients. You've still maintained a great attitude, Alissa, through it all. And I commend you for that. I mean, Is there anything I missed there, you think, or?
Well, no, I think those are all very true. And I just think as junior advisors come into a firm, they have to understand that while they may possibly know technology better, or they may know how to run the technology in the office better, or they need to understand that they have a lot to learn and that they need to appreciate the value that they have in that senior advisor who can show them the way, explain to them the mistakes they've made over the years. And so I've watched my dad go through down markets. I've watched my dad go through dealing with sick clients. And so I just had the best mentor because he was right there to show me all of those things.
And Alissa, you bring up a great point because I see like many people like you come in, like you have great skills in taxes. In fact, better than your dad's. You've got great skills in technology, better than your dad's. But you respect his life experiences, as you just noted, and what he did to start that practice, get it off the ground, and bring it to a point where you could join him as opposed to both start from scratch.
Right.
And there's, like you said, there's an appreciation on your side for his life experiences. While you might, technology problem comes up, you're going to solve it quicker, obviously. Efficiency even, you may be more efficient. But his life experiences, as a result of you respecting that, you folks have taken this to a new level.
Yep, we work hard for our clients, and that's the biggest thing, Are you helping your clients? And so we're constantly asking ourselves that.
And that's great, Alissa. I know at your firm, clients come first. Like all the people who, our academy motto is clients come first. But could you be a little specific here? I'm going to ask you, what are some of the systems that you've implemented that over the years have elevated you folks to become top producers? I mean, you got a 7+ figure revenue. What are some of the specific things you say, over the years, these are things that we've put together that have really helped?
I think all of them have helped over the years. They all do their piece. But the ones that I've highlighted are, one is the Client Advocate Club. That has been a huge event for us to talk about to our clients and how we can ask for referrals and reward our clients for those referrals. That has been a big deal to us over the years. Just having standard operating procedures, an in-office play-by-play of how to do each process. And so if someone's on vacation, if one of the advisors is not in the office, we have something written down that everyone knows how to process, a check distribution, to open new paperwork, to handle a death in the family. Those have become important over the years just to keep us streamlined. And one of the things that we've done over the years is just had a really great review process for existing clients, categorizing them into categories, getting them in here to see us, booking those review appointments. That has really been helpful because not only help you get the client in here to go over their information, but then you've got the chance to ask for the referrals. You've got the chance to capture outside assets if they have monies other places, and just a relationship with them. And so just having a standardized way to do that. Gold medal services, that is something that when we hand that to a prospect in our office, the things that are on our gold medal service list, our competition in our area cannot compete with that at all. We offer the tax planning, the estate planning, and all those things that are on that list really, I think, set us apart in a prospect's mind as to what we can offer them. And so just those things, having the marketing calendar set up, ready to go for the year. And again, it doesn't have to be, written in stone, but it gives us the focus to stay on task for the year and to have those client events, to get those reviews done, get those mailers out. And so those are just a few of the things I think that we have benefited from.
Well, Alissa, and obviously you've gleaned a lot of those from our program because we stress systematized practices that are high-end. As you know, one of our goals is to have every advisor, the best advisor that sits across the table from somebody. Another is to have them the best systematized business possible. But there are challenges in our business. And I read all the time recently articles, and we talk about this, how one of the challenges is a lot of people are going around saying referrals don't work anymore. You got to go out there and cold prospect. What would you say to someone who said referrals don't work anymore?
I would say they're not taking the proper approach for referrals. 90% of our new appointments that come in are referral based. And we have a few here and there that'll say, oh, I saw your ad in the paper, or I drove by the office. But 90% of them are someone who's been referred here, and sometimes not even once or twice, but 3 times. They'll say, we talked to 3 different people who all said Appleman Financial is the place you have to go. And so when someone walks in the door and they've gotten our name 3 times, they've pretty much become a client before halfway through the meeting, because we've been recommended. So I would say referrals is well alive and effective if you're asking the right way and you're doing the right things.
And I know, like many of the people in our group, we've got a family of over 300 strong practices in our room. When we talk about the referral cultures they've set up, like you, they laugh when we say referrals don't work. And they say those are just advisors that possibly don't deserve or haven't earned these referrals. You've set up a referral culture. Can you quantify that for us a little bit? Alissa, I know you're real good at goal setting, calendars.
I love goal setting and record keeping.
So how many referrals do you get a year, Alissa? Do you get 5, 10? Come on, knock me down.
Last year we had 50 new clients that came on board.
How many?
We had 50.
50 new clients in 1 year.
New clients.
Where did most of them come from?
They were mostly referral based.
So you're getting 50 referrals in a small town. And obviously, the pocket of wealth in your town is not as extensive as like major cities. But you're getting 50 good clients that fit your profile and come in and be clients. And you're able to process them. That's outstanding. Now, standard operating procedures, how seriously do you take those?
They're pretty serious. We have someone in the office who's assigned to keep those updated. And as things change, she updates the SOPs. And so, we all talk together as a team. Is there a way we can streamline this process? Is there a way we can make this more efficient? And so we all sit down and talk together, and we update those things. So everything changes. Things change. Paperwork changes, technology changes, and so you have to keep on top of that. We have a great CRM that helps us with all of the client information and keeping everybody categorized. But yes, SOPs are very important.
Now, I know, if one of the things that we talk about at our sessions is high-end repeatable interview process, a high-end repeatable review process. And you mentioned how your review process is extraordinary. Are there any power phrases you could share with the group that you use, or any things that you say where either your eyes light up or your prospect or client's eyes are lighting up and you're saying, wow, I really am connecting when I use some of these phrases? Any phrases that come to mind, Alissa?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I actually have a 2-page document that I've kept over the years that we've been with APFA, and I write them down. And if I'm nervous before a prospect or review appointment, I'll get that paper out and I'll review some of these phrases. But the ones that I often use is, there's always a crisis of the day. There's always something going on in our market, in our world, in our politics that's a crisis of the day. And so, if someone's in here and they're really concerned about how things are going, I would say every day or every year, every generation has a crisis. And so they kind of relate to that. I also use tax planning is proactive and tax prep is reactive. And I tell them, if you don't have an advisor reviewing your taxes during the tax year, by the time we get to tax time where you're filing, you're now being reactive. It's too late most of the time to do anything and to change your tax outcome. I say, has your tax advisor looked at your tax return? And they never say yes. So that's something that I use often, because taxes are such an important part of a client's picture. And another one I also use is a small mistake on a small amount of money is a small mistake. Small mistake on a large amount of money is a huge mistake. So, if there's a do-it-yourselfer or someone who's managing their money on the weekends and they make a small mistake on small money, it's not that big of a deal. But if you take their entire life savings and they make a small mistake, then you're talking about something completely different. And so that's one phrase I use often, as well as the only thing constant is change. There's always in tax laws, changes in the economy, changes in how people manage money, changes in their own personal situation, family and health. And so we use that phrase quite a bit as well. I always tell Ken when I see him at our meetings, I say, Ken, I use these phrases, and it's like magic pixie dust sprinkled all over the meeting with the client because they just identify with those comments, and it makes them think about, maybe they do need more help than what they've been getting.
That's outstanding, Alissa. And, you remind people of the dangers, which there are dangers out there if people aren't properly looking at things. You also question them about whether their current financial advisor is being proactive or even reactive. And
Right.
sometimes you'll point out, like you said, the opportunities that are missed by not doing it. I know you use tax planning as a proactive service, like you mentioned, that separates you from other advisors. A lot of people always ask me, how does a good advisor keep up on their tax planning? How do you keep up with changes? Obviously, I know the answer to this one. How are you keeping
we
up
learn
with
a lot.
changes?
Well, we learn a lot from you, and Keebler during our meetings together every year. We certainly glean a lot of tax alpha from that. But also, I do prepare income tax returns. I only do about 200 a year. They're only for clients, investment clients. I do enjoy that up until about the end of March, and then I'm ready for it to be over. But I do enjoy taxes. That keeps me on top of tax laws, how a tax return looks, where the money comes and goes. And I can talk to clients when they bring in a tax return. I can quickly review their 1040 and make some quick suggestions, and teach us in our sessions how to at least be aware of things that we can discuss with the client that we have concern about. And you always say if it's a CPA job, then get it to a CPA and refer them out. But I think it's not that hard for us as advisors to know at least a little bit of tax information to try to get that client to understand they have some things that they may be missing.
And Alissa, even though you are a registered tax preparer and you know quite a bit about taxes, I know you take advantage of our tax form review here. How helpful is it when you send in a tax form here and we take a look at it, put another set of eyes on it, and give you some ideas? How have you found that?
It is very helpful. It gives me the confidence to know that my ideas are going to work for the client, that I'm not missing anything. And so, yes, we have done that over a few tough cases over the years. And that, again, just gave me the confidence to go back to that client and say, listen, I've had this reviewed by outside counsel who have said our plan is a good plan. And just being able to say that to them, gives me confidence, gives the client confidence as well that we're heading in the right direction.
And I know one of the things you take advantage of too, Alissa, and you're real good at is the off-tax form ideas, like, coming up with great retirement distribution strategies, and especially now with this new potential rules out there that'll, change how people have to liquidate and draw down IRAs. You're so familiar with that tax alpha, so to speak, that you can add in properly distributing, properly passing on. I know you're always keeping at top of your game. So I compliment you, and I thank you on behalf of the industry and your clients for doing that. So let's move on to you'd mentioned earlier your advocate program. What are some of your other successful ventures? What are some of the things you're doing? You say, hey, these are things that are either successful in, helping Dad and I work a better schedule. I mean, when I first met your dad, that guy was working all the time. What's his schedule looking like right now?
He is down to 3 days a week.
Awesome.
And yes, we are better at booking his appointments in a way that they are back to back, and that he has then time to follow up, finish up, and then take care of anything that came in through the day. So we've gotten much better at his scheduling. And one of the things that has helped us is our Client Advocate Club. We ask for referrals at our annual client banquet. We have an annual client dinner, and that's one place that we ask for referrals. We ask them to fill out a referral card on the table at dinner. And so we've gotten a lot of referrals that way, a lot of ways to raise the numbers on our prospect mailing list as well. And that's one good idea that's worked for us over the years. And just having fun events with clients, that's just a way to build a relationship with them, to get to know them better. We have birthday lunches, we have annual client dinners, we have the movie event. We have what we call our platinum client events with our top tier of clients, something that's a little more intimate, a little more upscale. And so all allowed to bring guests to any event we have. We have verbiage on every invitation that says, you're welcome to bring guests. And we kind of let them know, is it someone who may benefit from our services? And so over the years, our clients have understood that we're looking to grow and that they're welcome to bring people with them. We also send a Christmas letter, and that is just a personal way for my father and I to reach out to our clients and just let them know what's going on in our own personal lives and to thank them for their business.
You know, Alissa, I talked to a lot of people that ask for referrals, and they say they add value, but they don't really add value the way you do. I mean, you know, when you look at how you're servicing clients, you're always in front of clients. You've got events going, you've got mailings going out to clients, you're talking to clients, you folks are connecting and always kind of constantly making sure that you're touching base with clients, improving their lives, improving their financial positions. And so I'm not surprised or confused when I see you don't just say, hey, we're always available, call us when you need us. Or, right. Yeah, we'll just send out some, nonsensical like posts that perhaps thousands of others are sending out. You folks are really adding value, so I'm not surprised that you get lots of referrals. Let's shift directions for a second and talk about time wasters, because, one of the things that you're pretty efficient at is time. What would you say was one of the biggest time waste options that others can avoid? If you were giving advice to yourself 10, 12 years ago, I know you may have avoided it already, but what are some of the things you'd say to advisors? Try to avoid this. These are time traps or things that possibly might not be the best use of your time.
I think for us over the years is, if we deviated from the recommendations from the academy, we would find ourselves kind of spinning our wheels, wasting time, wasting money. We've done mass mailings before. We've done cold calling. We've done some of those marketing ideas that are out there without results. And so we just made a decision together back in 2010 that we were going to do everything you told us to do. Now, we couldn't do it immediately. But we weren't gonna pull things in from other marketing programs and kind of have that soup marketing program. We just wanted to focus on the things that you said you knew would work if we just took the time to let it happen. And so I would say that in the beginning we did try to just kind of piece things together, but then we really decided that was just wasting our time. It was wasting time and money.
Well, Alissa, you've built an exceptional practice with comfortable points of entry, and it's just, been powerful to see your results. But I want to get to time management and ask you, people make excuses for why they can't get things done in life. How busy are you when you get home? How do you balance this thing?
Well, the truth, Ken, is I wanted to go to work because I had to get out of the house.
Well, I know you got quintuplets at home, so yes, you got 6 kids,
I need to go to work.
From the same age.
Yeah.
So what's life
Especially
look like?
When they were 2 or 3.
I'm sorry?
Especially when they were 2 or 3 years old.
Right. And how old are they now?
They're 9.
9, right?
9.
I was going to say, they're 9 now. I've known them. I remember when you had them, and oh boy, Alissa. So you got, and your oldest is a little older than them. So you got 6 kids at home. Can anyone ever look you in the eye and say they're busy? And you say,
well,
not safe? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I think it's all with what you do with it. It's all, like you said, time management. At this point, in the office, my father works 3 days a week. I work 3 days a week, and I do have evening appointments 1 or 2 nights a week. So he doesn't want to work evenings. So anyone who calls in, either one of his clients who has to have an evening appointment or a new person, I take the evening appointments. And so we've worked that out, and then we have staff here. So on Mondays we work together, and the rest of the week we alternate. And so there's always an advisor here in the office, and we've been able to do that because we've become more efficient in our processes and all of that. So we respect our staff and their family time, and we want to make sure that we have enough family time as well. And so, there's some times where we've turned down a new prospect who could only come in on a Saturday. And I just say, I'm sorry, I will do a conference call with you in the evening. We'll work it out another way. But, Saturday is family time for us. And so We may not be the firm for you if that's what you need. And so sometimes you just have to say no as well. But yeah, we make family time important. We make our time off important. And that's something that you taught us to do over the years, that dad needed some time off during the week.
Well, and one of the things we encourage is to stick to your values. And one of the things I really respect about you is you're one of those remarkable people who's exceptionally bright, gets things done at a very high level, very efficient level, but then goes home and I call it feed and read. You can still feed those 6 and you can read to those children. I know your eyes light up when I ask you about the kids because you are a great mom. You're not, I know we all feel like sometimes we're cheating here and there from this and that to get to one place. It's a balancing act, and life's a balancing act. Would you say you're just one of the few who's able to just balance it, Alissa, or would you just?
No. Well, I would say that as a mom and someone who owns a business, that there is always a little level of guilt on either side. So you feel guilty you're not home with your kids every day and in the home all the time. And then you also feel guilty if I'm not here at work and something comes up and my staff needs me or a client needs me. And so it is a balancing act. You just have to figure out what's healthy for you and your family. And sometimes you have to say no to some really great things in life, to say yes to the things that are most important. Because not everything that comes along in our lives is a bad idea. Serving on something or I don't know, helping on a team or a committee. But sometimes you do have to say no to make sure your family's okay and your staff is okay and that you're serving in your church. And so I've learned that over the years too, that you can't do it all and it's okay to say no sometimes.
Well, and as I look back at milestones, I remember in 2017, which wasn't that long ago, Alissa, you folks just cracked the $100 million level. You've added over 50 million since then. So here we are in 2019, you're over 150. So, you mean to tell me you can handle 6 kids at home, you and your dad with a team of 4 can run an efficient $1 million plus revenue stream, servicing clients, doing this all remarkable. I mean, it almost sounds too good to be true, but I know these remarkable results aren't not just sensational, they're who you are. They're who you are. How delegation, I know, is something we stress. You don't have a large team, but you got a very strong team. And we talk about strength of quality of team, not quantity of team members. What are some of the things you're able to delegate to team members so that you can balance your life?
Well, we did hire on a part-time marketing assistant when we started in 2010. So I was able to pass on the marketing calendar and keeping on top of when things had to be started for an event. You have to get your invitations approved and invitations in the mail 6 weeks out and all of that timeline. I was able to shift that off in the planning of the events. I mentioned that we have someone who's in charge of the standard operating procedures manual. She keeps on top of that. We have another staff member who takes care of updating the monthly newsletters, getting our header on, getting that approved by compliance and getting that out in the mail. We have someone who's assigned to prospect calls. A tough one, I think, in the office. You have to find someone who is good at that and who can enjoy that, because that's sometimes a tough job to call people and introduce yourself when they're expecting a sales call. But she's done very well with that over the years. I tried doing that. I was not good at that. So you also have to know your own strengths and weaknesses. But she's really great at keeping on top of that. And again, the review appointments, setting appointments, sending out the documentation when a new prospect calls, all of that has been given to the 3 part-time staff members.
In our industry, we'd consider you and your dad power players. As you know, I know when you go to events outside of our office, you always tell me, hey, Ken, we're always up there like number 1 in whatever category we're in, because you are 1%ers. You're running a 7-figure business. Very, very good at what you do. You're very knowledgeable. What would you say, about the people in our room? You've been coming to meetings now for over 10 years. How would you describe the community, so to speak, that we've built in that room?
It's great. Everyone is willing to share their ideas. They've tried something new and the results on that. Let's say they had birthday lunches. How did that go? What was their turnout? How did they even get down to how they mail out the invitations? There's a lot of great ideas that get passed around, and I always come home with one or two things from other advisors that we're going to try. And sometimes it's how they invest money, an idea or a fund that they're using. Sometimes it's a special mailer they sent out to their top clients to say thank you. So we always get something. We always get something that we walk away with to say, hey, so-and-so is doing this. Do you want to try that? It's been a very big part of the program for us too, is just that networking with other advisors.
What would you find? How would you describe the quality of the community? Would you say there's a good group of advisors in that room, Alissa?
I would say that we are low on the totem pole.
No, you're always high on everyone's totem pole.
We are in a room full of high level advisors, high level offices. We always come back with something of value for sure when we're networking with everyone, and they're just nice. People are just nice.
And that's one thing I was trying to bring out, Alissa. I think we've developed a community where there's a great sharing, and we embrace new people coming in. We're always open to, I think everyone in there is really willing to not just share, but help each other and give back, which is, one of the questions I was going to ask you. What advice would you give to others? There are probably a lot of people listening to this who would love to grow a practice like yours. What advice would you give back to others to grow that practice like yours?
I think the biggest thing I see with new attendees to the program, and I love that you introduced me to them because I love to talk to new people coming into the program when they're at the events that you hold. Don't get distracted. It is so easy in our business to get bogged down in the day-to-day running of your business. Dealing with clients, dealing with compliance, paperwork, advertising, just the calls that come in any given day. And it's so important to stay focused on what goals do I need to set for the month for APFA, and to constantly review that. I used to block out one afternoon a week in my schedule where I would sit down and go over all my notes, look at my marketing calendar, just to make sure we were on track, because it's so easy again to get off course. And I would say just to kind of shelter yourself from the alphabet soup of a marketing plan, taking different things from so many different places. I think I've seen with the newer attendees, they just get overwhelmed and kind of have paralysis because first step in, there's so much that you learn. You don't quite know where to start. And then if you throw other ideas in that you've had from other marketing programs, then you're really, you're setting yourself up for, I think, failure sometimes. So I think that's the one main thing. The second thing is, like Ken, you said, your team is so important. And you've taught me over the years to make sure I have a healthy team. And that's not something that I've done well, I would say, over the years is, I'm a mom. So if I had, a staff member that maybe wasn't 100%, I would think I could mold them into something, that we needed. And you taught me to just handle those situations with grace and to move on from that. And so you've helped me build a team here that has done what you've been talking about. They are the backbone to this. And part of that is appreciating them, making sure they understand how important they are, verbally and, in their paychecks, to let them know that they are an important part of the team and what they do is important. So I would say those are the two biggest things. Don't become distracted and appreciate your staff. Get a good team behind you.
Well, Alissa, I want to thank you because I know you've built a long-term relationship with clients, trusting relationship with clients, one that has really produced extraordinary results for clients, but it also has grown a great practice for you and your dad. I know you focus on the core values of providing high-level advice with good benchmarks for efficiency. I thank you for sharing some of your proven systems. Your strategy is built on quality, not just quantity. And I just get excited about spending the next decade with you, your dad, and our members because I think, as you know, enthusiasm, we're not lacking in that. We sure love that. I love your energy level. If any of you would like to meet with Alissa, join our coaching program. You get the opportunity to sit next to a high-level person like Alissa and some others. So, Alissa, on behalf of anyone listening here, I just want to thank you for your time today and let you know it's just a joy to work with you and your dad.
Well, we appreciate you, Ken, and all you've done for our firm and our family. You honestly have changed our lives for the better in what you have taught us. And the fact that I'm able to provide for 6 kids and do that well. So, what you have done for us is important as well. So I thank you. Well,
Alissa, the mutual respect here, as you know, like all the people that sit in that room, you're always, a joy to be with. So I thank you so much on behalf of not just the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors, but on behalf of the entire industry for sharing with us. As anyone listening can hear, we are certainly partnering with the industry's best advisors, of which, when you're talking about the industry's best advisors, Alissa Conklin's name has to come up. I know you've won a lot of awards, Alissa, and we didn't even get into just the whole cadre of awards you've won, but I thank you. Thank you on behalf of clients first and other advisors who are listening. So, Alissa, thank you for sharing time with us today.
Thank you, Ken.
Have a great day.
Yep, you too.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 5-Star Tips. For show notes, please visit www.theapfa.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with a friend. And don't forget to sign up for our email list. For more information on the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors, please visit our website at www.theapfa.com. That's www.theapfa.com. Or give us a call at 866-866-0472 with any questions you may have.